Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, July 19th. Upcoming, we will continue to see thunderstorms into next week across most of the region. However, they will be pushing further west and north over the coming days. Otherwise, breezy winds today will occur in central Idaho and areas that we've seen recent lightning, as well as northwest Nevada. And we will see drier conditions pushing from west to east as we move through the weekend and into the following week. Otherwise, fuel's overall fire danger is slowly decreasing, especially in southern and eastern areas, not quite as much as far north as Idaho, but in some areas you will see some minor moderation. Still have a fuel and fire behavior advisory in effect for eastern Nevada and much of Utah and the Arizona Strip, but again, fire danger is moderating. Looking at our fire potential impact slide, you can see those widespread thunderstorms today. The only areas that may not see thunderstorms would be parts of northwest Nevada and western Idaho. However, still hot temperatures will occur, and we will see those thunderstorms still in parts of central Idaho and starting to push further north today along the Sierra Front. These thunderstorms will continue to push north and west as we move through Monday and Tuesday. Most of these storms will be on the wetter side or a mix of wet and dry, but on this northern and western periphery is where we'll see not quite as much moisture, so some storms will be producing some gusty outflow winds and not quite as much precipitation. The National Weather Service does have some heat advisories in effect for southern Idaho for these hot temperatures, and also some flood watches and hydrologic outlooks in effect for parts of Utah for the continued showers and thunderstorms. And we, again, will see the potential for debris flooding on parts of our fires down there as well as other areas. Looking at the last 24 hours, we did see scattered thunderstorms over the eastern half of the region, more precipitation in parts of Utah. And then up north, we saw scattered thunderstorms as well, kind of a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms on the northern and western edge. Over the last 7 days, however, we've had a lot of lightning across the west, including all of the Great Basin just about. So again, we will continue to see initial attack from the lightning and also the potential for holdovers in areas that eventually dry out. Over the last 7 days, precipitation has generally been above normal across much of western and northern Nevada into southwest Idaho, and also in parts of Utah and southern areas where we continue to see those wetting rains with the thunderstorms. However, even in areas of Utah that have seen thunderstorms daily over the last week, we still are seeing drier spots, especially in these lower elevations. So not all areas receiving the same amounts of precipitation. Yesterday, we had 22 fires reported for a total of 4,173 acres. However, no growth on our large fires. And you can see our large fires here as well as our new initial attack. The morning satellite shows the deeper moisture over southern and eastern areas, but also that moisture, again, wrapping around and pushing up into Idaho. We have plenty of smoke across the north coming from our own fires as well as the numerous fires in Oregon and continued smoke impacts for Utah. So looking at those, you can see most of the smoke is up north. Any smoke down south will be kind of on the minor side, certainly compared to what we're seeing in Oregon and across Idaho and northern Nevada. Looking at our fire danger conditions, all areas continue to decrease a bit, at least in the south and east. You can see some of these arrows in western Nevada are on the rise or have been on the rise over the last couple of days with drier air moving in, but we will see more moisture here over the next couple of days. So kind of a mixed bag with respect to our fuels across the region, but still up north, plenty of areas above the 80th percentile in parts of Idaho. And you can see from the charts up on the Payette here in the top right, those ERCs will just continue to climb. We will see some moisture in thunderstorms, but not the wetting rains that we'll see further east. So we will see fire danger becoming a bit more critical in the far north. In the south, where we've seen the dramatic drop in ERCs, we actually will see those start to creep up towards the end of the week or in the weekend when we see a little bit less moisture. Looking at the overall weather pattern, high pressure still dominating to the east with a series of low pressure areas moving north off the west coast. So that pattern really won't change, keeping us in this daily period of thunderstorm with the exception of pushing that moisture north and east across the region. We have no high risk across the region, but still moderate risk for the north and western areas the next few days with that lightning, still expecting initial attack and the potential for large fires, at least in the short term. Looking at our wind conditions today, winds will pick up in central Idaho, westerly winds generally in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. Not quite enough for high risk, but we have had recent lightning, so that will be something to watch up there. Otherwise, gusty outflow winds associated with the thunderstorms will continue the next several days. Relative humidity will be driest in the north and west today and into tomorrow, but we will see some moderating conditions as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, with continued higher humidities across southern and eastern areas, especially in the higher elevations. Looking at our overall precipitation impacts the next few days, you can see how each day that precipitation increases and spreads further north and west. Still, parts of the Payette and even southwest Idaho will be on that western fringe, so not expecting too much precipitation there, with any potential for the wetting rains further south and east. Temperatures will remain hot in the north over the next couple of days, and these temperatures over 100 degrees in Idaho are about 4 to 7 degrees above normal for the time of year. We will see a slight decrease as we get into Tuesday. Otherwise, temperatures across Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip are near normal. Looking at Wednesday through Friday, the only change is this low pushes a little bit closer to the west coast, pushing that drier air into western areas, especially later this week. So we will see some drying across western, northern Nevada into Idaho. And you can see from our 7-day fire potential impact or fire potential product, you can see still low fire potential across much of the southern part of the region, but still kind of staying in that low yellow risk up north. Wind-wise, general winds associated with thunderstorms, those gusty outflow winds will continue. We may see a southwest or westerly breezes pick up in western and northern areas as that drier air moves in and the trough moves a bit closer to the coast. Otherwise, relative humidity will be highest up north on Wednesday and then slowly start to decrease, especially in western areas towards the end of the week. Wednesday, again, kind of our peak day for scattered showers and wetting rains up in Idaho, still seeing some drier conditions for the Payette and western Idaho. And then as we get towards Thursday and Friday, the moisture really starts to decrease from west to east. Otherwise, temperatures kind of remain what we'll be seeing early this week will continue late in the week. Here's a total for our 3-day forecast of precipitation here on the left from the National Weather Service and the 7-day. So you can see the better chances of wetting rains are really over the eastern half of the region, very spotty as you get out west or up north. And then the recap of our 7-day significant fire potential outlook: no high risk, but still seeing drier, moderate risk areas in the north and west over the next couple of days, and those will moderate towards midweek and may potentially return by the weekend. The 6 to 10-day outlook, taking us from July 24th to the 28th, still shows above normal temperatures and that above normal precipitation signature. This takes us through July 28th. I will say probably towards the 27th and 28th, we'll likely see some drier conditions, potentially region-wide, as we go into that week of July 28th, at least for a few days before the next return of moisture. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.